Please be seated. Good afternoon. My name is Mark Bernard, the proud principal of East Islip High School. On behalf of our Board of Education, Superintendent of Schools, faculty, staff, and the class of 2020, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to our 93rd annual commencement exercises of the East Islip School District. I want to thank everyone for a smooth entrance into the stadium. We are going to be wearing our masks throughout the entire ceremony. When you have your picture taken, you can remove those masks, and we want to maintain our social distancing throughout the entire time. At this time, I'd like you to please stand for the salute to the flag. Please remain standing for the playing of our national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we marched were so gallantly streaming, and the rugged red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge some members of the East Islip School. Mrs. Jessica Carney, the trustee, Mr. Christopher Collier, trustee, Mr. Christopher Zachary, trustee. Our district administration, Mr. John V. Dolan, Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Paul Manzo, Assistant Superintendent for Instruction and Personnel, Mr. Stephen Harrison, Assistant Superintendent for Business, Dr. Lisa Bells, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources Administration. Our district directors, Dr. Sarah Jean Anderson, Mr. Jason Stanton, Dr. Aileen O'Rourke, Mr. Frank Piloteri, Mr. Stephen Restivo, Dr. Robert Wadawa, and Mr. Richard Zykowitz. Our high school administration, Mrs. Jean Marie DeVersa, Mr. Christian Seifert, and Mr. Jim Nolan. Our Cleary administration, Mrs. Jacqueline Sims, Mrs. Elise Becker Santa, and Mrs. Kathleen Kersner. And our secretarial staff, Mrs. Graffinino, Mrs. Zamiti, Mrs. Walsh, Mrs. Zeman, Mrs. Wisman, Mrs. Gick, Mrs. Kaler, and Mrs. Harrison. I'd also like to thank our buildings and grounds crew and our custodial staff under leadership of Felix Gonzalez at the building level and Anthony Gagliano at the district office level. Class of 2020, it's good to see you again. It's been a while. When we started in September with excitement and anticipation of all the great things to come for the upcoming school year, with references to a 2020 vision, we stood together with a clear idea of what the future holds. We never would have thought that things would so drastically change, but as the Ides of March approached, our clarity was blurred. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the frontline workers within our community who helped us through these difficult times. Thanks to the medical professionals, policemen, firefighters, and food service providers who work daily to keep us safe and fed during this pandemic. Without them, we would not be here today. You are our true hometown heroes. Unexpectedly, we were thrust into a new normal, and we were met with stay-at-home orders as this pandemic became the sole focus. We are bombarded with messages like, for the protection of others, if you are really sick, stay at home and remain there until the fever is over. If you are up and about, protect healthy persons from infection. Don't spray each other with excretions from your nose and throat in coughing, sneezing, laughing, or talking. Cover your mouth with a handkerchief. Wash your hands frequently. Keep away from others as much as possible if you have a cough. Sound familiar? It should, especially if you were in the U.S. Navy in 1918. Yes, you heard right. These directives are an excerpt of a circular written by the Navy's Bureau of Sanitation directed to sailors dated September 26, 1918, as we were in the grips of an influenza pandemic. I'm amazed that in these days of modern medicine, the expectations to battle a virus go back to the basics of good hygiene. But embedded in that guidance is something so very important. It starts for the protection of others. You see, as individuals, we have an obligation to protect others, those who cannot protect themselves, those who are compromised, those without a voice. This is our civic duty. By working together, we are better. Collectively, we are stronger. In the words of John F. Kennedy, and so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Your world is changing, and you will be faced with many challenges. With those challenges come choices, and sometimes those choices are difficult. It is my hope that you will make these choices with compassion and sincerity in the face of adversity. As you are confronted with these choices, remember the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. We are all measured when times are tough. During troubled times, we see ordinary people do extraordinary things. I challenge you to be the best you can be, to dream big, work hard, and never accept failure. I challenge you to find a cure for cancer, work towards world peace, leave this earth a better place. Act consciously and be the voice for those who do not have one. Remember, the only difference between ordinary and extraordinary is a little extra. So for the class of 2020, please accept these challenges. Always keep your vision clear because your future is bright. Remember East Islip as a caring, supportive community, and always show your EI pride. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the salutatorian, Justine Rizzo.
Good afternoon, parents, teachers, administrators, Board of Education members, and my fellow classmates. I am honored and privileged to be able to speak to you today as the salutatorian of the class of 2020. Yes, honored by the acknowledgement of my personal academic record and privileged to be given the opportunity to not only do an extra homework assignment, but then to be asked to read it publicly, not once, but 5 times in front of a large crowd. Thank you, COVID-19. All jokes aside, I'm grateful that despite the fact that the world is in the midst of an unprecedented pandemic, we are able to be here together to share this important milestone in our lives. As I thought about what to say in this speech, I figured that I would begin with defining the word graduation itself. For this, I turned to the trusted Urban Dictionary. The Urban Dictionary defines graduation as the best known cure to senioritis and similar diseases. Side effects include long gowns, flat square-shaped hats, diplomas, responsibility, college, and/or career. I can testify to the truth in this statement. In my early high school years, and even in the beginning of this school year, I found myself thinking, I can't wait to graduate. Of course, at that time, June 2020 seemed as if it were eons away and graduating was just some abstract idea. As this day approached, I thought to myself, I can't believe that I'm finally going to graduate. And at the same moment, also that I can't believe that I'm actually going to graduate. Now I can say that my case of senioritis has definitely been cured, as I feel nostalgic for my years in East Islip schools that have seemed to have breezed by. However, I am also excited for what is to come in the future. The duality of the emotions is not lost on me. Saying goodbye to the halls of East Islip High School will not be easy. We will miss the camaraderie of standing on the bleachers together at football games, shooting off confetti cannons, dressing up for Spirit Week, cramming for exams with friends the night before, performing in concerts, and much more. Rather than being sad about what we're leaving behind, we should be celebrating our achievements in this first chapter of our lives. Although all of our paths to reach this final destination have been different, each intertwined with those of others, the important thing is that we all made it here, united as one, graduating class of 2020. We are ready to bring our to get to this point. Leaders who have challenged us to be our best selves, not only academically, but also as people. Thank you to our guidance counselors who have helped navigate our future paths. Thank you to the administrators for believing in us and making this live graduation and special senior events possible. I would also like to thank SparkNotes, CliffNotes, Google, Chegg, and Quizlet for being such dependable resources available at any time. Last but not least, thank you to our parents and families for always being there for us. Since I will not have this opportunity again after today, I would like to leave you with a bit of advice. In the words of J.K. Rowling, we do not need magic to change the world. We carry the power we need inside ourselves already. We have the power to imagine better. Never underestimate yourself and your ability to make a difference. You may be surprised at what you can accomplish. Congratulations to the class of 2020, and I wish you the best in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Justine. At this time, I'd like to invite Kayla Cappy to present the top 25. Students, as you hear your name, please stand and remain standing until all 25 names have been announced. Audience, please hold your applause until all names have been called. Thank you.
Caroline Meehan, Northeastern University. Justine Rizzo, University of Delaware. Emily Alexander, SUNY Geneseo. Nicholas Baldino, University of South Carolina. Thomas Boyd, Florida Southern College. Alexandra Bundy, CUNY Baruch College. Taylor Capizzoli, University of Miami. Allison Chiarelli, SUNY Binghamton. Patrick Colery, SUNY Binghamton. Sean Colery, SUNY Binghamton. Peter Gerace, University at Buffalo. Brittany Clubb, Hofstra University. Robert Krusch, SUNY Binghamton. Paige Lazarick, University of Rhode Island. Stephanie Letty, New York Institute of Technology. Juliana Longo, Vanderbilt University. Peter Milionico, University of Connecticut. Tyler O'Neill, Syracuse University. Jenna Piacenti, SUNY Cortland. Christina Rooney, Vassar College. William Rost, Rochester Institute of Technology. Colleen Schmidt, University of Florida. Margaret Tadlock, Penn State University. Christian Tuck, Long Island University Post, and Samantha Weingard, Muhlenberg College.
Thank you, Kayla. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the valedictorian of the class of 2020, Caroline Meehan.
It's hard to believe that we're finally here, graduating. With everything that has happened in these past few months, I was anything but short on material for this speech. I think that's what made it so difficult and terrifying to write, and maybe what made me procrastinate on it until the last minute like I did on every other assignment in high school. I was so focused on picking what I thought would be most important for you, my classmates, to hear, and desperately trying my hardest not to fail at something that was so important to me. But in the end, I knew that I didn't have to make it perfect. I just had to push through my fear and speak about what I knew. What I took away from everything that has happened recently, and what I hope you do too, is that despite all that we have lost, we have gained so much more. As Eleanor Roosevelt once said, you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You are able to say to yourself, I have lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. I think that we can all agree that this year was far from what we expected. We lost at best the end of our senior year, and at worst our family and friends. And sadly, we cannot regain either. But through all of the pain, stress, and loss that we've experienced, we made it through. We showed strength when everything around us felt like it was crumbling. We have lived through this horror, and I wish for all of us to recognize that we are fortunate enough to have made it out the other side, hopefully gaining the confidence that we are stronger than we thought, as well as a deeper appreciation for things that we may have sometimes taken for granted. While I find that Roosevelt's words apply heavily to this trying time of our young lives, I also believe that they ring true through every hardship we will ever experience. Already, we know that life can be challenging. We know that life can be scary. Many of us are moving on to college in a few months and will have the chance to learn and explore new places, to figure out who we are and what we believe in. This thought alone makes me simultaneously excited and terrified. Going off to college, living by ourselves, or interviewing for our first jobs after we graduate from college seem like these abstract, distant things. We think, I'll just worry about that when I get to it, because it's easier than facing our fears over what will happen when we finally do. Failure, rejection, and loss are a part of life, but so are triumphs, happiness, and success. One cannot come without the other. We may have had to learn this a bit younger than we thought, but knowing it and using it to keep going when life seems impossibly hard is a virtue that we will never lose. Now it's time to say my thank you, so please bear with me for a minute. Thank you to the East Islip community, the music department, and all of my teachers and classmates for your support these last 12 years. Thank you to my art teacher, Fig, for undoubtedly being one of the most loving, kind, and influential mentors I will ever have in my life. Thank you to my amazing coach, Reynolds, and my teammates who have cheered me on with unwavering enthusiasm for the last 4 years, no matter how terribly I ran. Thank you to my best friends for supporting me, loving me, and reminding me to have some fun and not take everything so seriously all of the time. And finally, thank you to my family. I owe them everything. Success is never achieved alone, and without them, there is no way that I would be standing here today. Neither would all of you. Through everything, your family is what will enable you to be strong and capable enough to take it through whatever comes your way. Now, I know that most of you will not remember a majority of what I've just said, but if you're going to take away anything from today, remember that. I'm proud of each and every one of us for making it this far despite all that has happened, and I wish you all luck in whatever your futures may bring. Congratulations.
Thank you, Caroline. And I do want to recognize that all Caroline, Justine, and Kayla have been at each ceremony that we've had. So this is number 3 for them. So I want to thank them for being here and spending the day with us and making sure that they are with all their classmates throughout the day, because they do intend on doing this 2 more times this evening. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the Superintendent of Schools, Mr. John V. Dolan.
But I'm going to ask Mr. Bernard to stay here for 1 minute. No, I think Mr. Bernard deserves a real nice round of applause, because he's the one that said to me back in March, we're going to graduate live, whether it kills me or not. And thank God it didn't. So let's give Mr. Bernard a nice round of applause. Thank you. And a big thank you to, the entire East Islip community. All right, we could stand here and talk about the what ifs. I'd much rather stand up here in front of you and talk about the amazing things that have happened because you folks made the choice to turn some difficult times into some very positive memories. And, I think some new traditions are going to come because of your perseverance, your relentless desire to make your senior year successful. Now, I do have a couple of quotes, And, Kayla's going to talk in a little bit, but Justine, Caroline, Mr. Bernard, and Mr. Carpluck will talk. And their theme is, I think, great. And it's all about looking forward and what you can do. But Abe Lincoln, one of our greatest presidents, his first quote is, "Most folks are about as happy as they make up their minds to be." And let's not fool each other, folks. Happiness does not always mean things are going well. Happiness is found in a relentless desire to be successful. And there are times winning is great, but there's an emptiness to winning because you got to wake up the next morning and go to work. And if you don't have a passion and a passion to follow, you'll never be happy. And Abe's other quote, "You have to do your own growing up, no matter how tall your parents are." You folks have had to grow up a little faster than most, but it's so good to see you. And it was great to see you at the parades and at the drive-bys and at the kind of the celebrations that we had. But you know what? What parents love the most, and it is interesting because it's my youngest son's birthday today, and I said it to him this morning. I said, "Matt, I really like the way you're growing up." And that's the nicest gift you can give your parents. And if you think about it for a minute, take a look around, take a look at the buildings, the EI red, the red gowns you have on. We started a red brick road here for you. And you're going to follow that red brick road for the rest of your life. And it's going to be the tradition, the EI pride that we tried to get you to understand and buy into. But it's you on that road who have the brains, the heart, and the courage. And take a look at your feet for a minute. Just take a look. Because those are your shoes. And you get up every morning, you tie those two shoes tight. And you say to yourself, "I'm going to be a little bit better when the sun goes down than when I was when I got out of bed this morning." And if you use your brain and you follow your heart and you're brave enough to have the courage to reach out and make a difference, you will face challenges. You will overcome challenges. Those challenges will become victories, and those victories will turn into new challenges. So I think Abe Lincoln would be very proud of all of you. And look Abe up, because one thing I like about Abe Lincoln is he kept getting knocked down. And there he had a long list of failures in his life, but he wasn't a failure because he kept trying and he kept going. And he had a dream and he wanted the world to be a better place, and he made a difference. So just remember that every morning when you tie your shoes, that you learned it here at EI. You get up, you work hard, put a big smile on your face, and go out there and make the world a better place. Class of 2020, we love you. We will never forget you. And just go out there and follow your passion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dolan. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the Board of Education President, Mr. William Carpluck.
If he hasn't given it to me yet, I don't have it. If he hasn't given it to me yet, I don't have it.
You want to take any chances?
I also leaned on Abraham Lincoln, but I leaned on the Gettysburg Address because I said, if he can do the Gettysburg Address in 275 words, I got to do mine in less. So I'm going to make it quick. I just want to say that it's really an honor to be here. I love this place. I'm not a graduate, but every time I come to graduation, I have a whole bunch of EI pride. And it comes back to these three young ladies, right? They don't have to be at every ceremony, but they wanted to do it for every classmate and every adult here. So, and that's a credit to the community. That's what we build here, you know, this idea of doing for others. So, real short, our graduates will be told time and again to be happy, to have a happy life. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. And we all want that for our children, but how do they get there? The most important lesson of today is the answer to this question. Graduation represents the two kinds of happiness. First, the happiness we experience through our senses. We are happy today because we are surrounded by smiles, laughter, and excitement. This feeling is fleeting. Think about all those times that you had a good meal or bought something new or won an award. Sure, you are or were happy, but it was temporary. Long-lasting, deeper joy and happiness does not come from our individual accomplishments. It is not the diploma. This kind of happiness is that sense of fulfillment that wells up within us that may make our throats tighten up or bring a tear to our eye. Fulfillment that comes by giving to others our love, our generosity, our compassion. What you will remember about today is not the piece of paper, but the relationships that you created by giving of yourself to others. For true joy, be guided by 8 simple words. The more you give, the more you have success, the future is bright. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Carpuck. And now the moment we have all been waiting for. Superintendent Dolan, Board of Education, President Mr. Carpuck, and the members of the East Leicester Board of Education, I hereby certify to you that the students sitting before you have met or exceeded the requirements set forth by New York State to graduate high school. So in just a moment, we will be distributing the diplomas. Just a couple housekeeping things. On our caps, the tassel should be on the right-hand side at this time. So make sure that it is on the right. We will be moving it shortly, but at this point, you have not considered graduates yet, so it should be on the right. Also, we will start to distribute the diplomas. You should have your diploma jackets on your seat. You're going to stand up, so each row will stand up. We will present your card to the reader, which will be at the end of the rows here, and then you'll take the ceremonial walk down the 50-yard line. There'll be opportunities to take 2 photographs, one here before the bridge, walk over the bridge, and then on the sideline, there'll be another opportunity for a photograph. All right, at this point, if the readers can please stand up to the microphones, we will begin the distribution of our diplomas.
Megan Gugel. Thomas Gugliotta. Samuel Hartnett. Christian Hardy. Harold Heffernan.
Leanna Booker. Franklin Georges. Jennifer Chica. Alyssa Rodriguez. Tristan Heiss. Juliana Hrubes. Danielle Heller. Faith Henderson.
Alyssa Huss. Grace Hurlbert. Ethan Holmes. Thomas Higgins. Aiden Hickey. John Herzog. Gage Herzog.
Fariana Baez. Price. Sebastian Perez. Stephanie Melendez. James Hutzler. Benjamin Hutter. Emily Iadanza. Jolie Iamuno.
Caroline Kelly. Joshua Isaacson. Talik Johnson. Jack Ginetti. Keeney. Kai Irizarry McAdam. Kai Ingebrigtsen.
Sarah Kern. Michael Kilborn. Callie Kilmurray. Brittany Clubb. Jordan Kramer. Robert Krusch. Melissa Chemises. Tatum Kenny.
Nikki La Francesca. Mia Leosa. Roman Lahara. Madeline Landberg. Angelina Latori. Brian Lawn. Paige Lazarich. Stephanie Letty.
Juliana Longo. Alyssa Levy. Isabella Licata. Edward Lemus. John Lennon. Emily Macaron. Kevin Laselli.
Congratulations, class of 2020. At this time, it's my pleasure to reintroduce you to our class president, Kayla Cappy, who's going to be delivering our final address. Just a moment, Kayla. Move my stuff. There you go.
Good afternoon. My name is Kayla Cappy. Let me start by saying it's been a great honor to have been your class president for the past 4 years. Welcome to Graduation 2020, pandemic style. No one could have predicted or even imagined the situation we are presented with here today. What we are living today is like the plot out of a science fiction novel or film, not the anticipated celebration for the high point of a 13-year journey through the East Islip School District. The class of 2020 is like no other. We have been special from the very first days we met, unique yet somehow connected. Perhaps it was the looming specter of 9/11. Something unidentifiable and unspoken has bound us together, and now we must accept our current situation together yet separate, embracing each other while distanced. Perhaps there was Perhaps there was no better group to be dealt such a cruel hand. A lesser class would not have been able to persevere in the face of such adversity. We've always been a connected group full of a care and a zest for life, steady in our resolve to make our school a community and a family, not just a carefree group of kids looking to hurry up and move on. We as a collective enjoyed, or shall I say cherished, our time together in both our social and educational endeavors. Yes, fate has brought us together, and fickle fate has attempted to keep us apart, but it cannot. We refuse and persevere. However, all that we've accomplished could not have been without the love and support of all of you. At this time, on behalf of the class of 2020, I would like to thank everyone who has helped make our journey a success. Thank you to our teachers and administrators for the continued encouragement and support you have given throughout all our academic years. Thank you to the board and entire school community for giving of yourselves. For giving of yourselves in a variety of ways to show how much you care. Thank you to the PTA for going above and beyond, especially these past few weeks, to make our time together here at East Islip High School more special and memorable before we have to say goodbye. But most of all, we thank our parents and family who have given us unconditional love throughout all of our triumphs and sometimes failures, throughout the most vulnerable years of our lives. We cannot be more grateful. We love and appreciate you more than you will ever know. And now to the class of 2020. While living in a world of uncertainty and never-ending change, we must remember to use our hearts as well as our heads as we move forward. And move forward we must. The future is unwritten. Through all this adversity, opportunity awaits to influence a world in desperate need to change for the better. It is our chance to make a difference. Having been a part of this distinguished class for the past 13 years, I know there is no obstacle we cannot overcome. As we pursue our goals and dreams, using all the talents, skills, and knowledge we've acquired throughout these years, I know the world will be a better place. Congratulations, class of 2020. We really made history.
Thank you, Kayla. Great job. Also, I want to thank our senior committee who worked tirelessly to make sure that our seniors were recognized. We had some great banners that were posted along the community. We also had some flags that were down Main Street, the bows, the ribbons, all the things that you see when you walked into the stadium were a result of their hard work and dedication and their efforts to make sure that this class was recognized. So I want to thank the senior committee members for all their efforts. Thank you very much. Also want to thank our class advisors, Mrs. Paranello and Mr. Kelleher, for all their hard work and dedication in making this class feel special. Before we begin our last portion of our ceremony, the moving of the tassel, I just wanted to go through the whole recessional. We're going to have our administration. We'll be going to the sideline over here. After we move our tassel, I'm going to invite the parents of the graduates that are sitting in the rows closest to me to come and walk your child out of the stadium. So we will be walking out together. Once those rows have cleared out, the next set of parents when the next rows out will come in and meet their graduate and then walk them out of the stadium as well. So, as my last official act as principal of the class of 2020, I ask the graduates to please stand for the final tradition of this ceremony. And unfortunately, because of social distancing, we are not able to toss our caps, but I would invite you to toss your caps this evening at 8:30. Take a picture of that and post that on social media. We'll try to get those photos and short videos together in a compilation so that we will have it all together as a memory of your graduation. And also, I would invite you to toss that cap after our virtual ceremony, which is going to be posted on July 9th. So please take your tassel that's on the right side of your cap, move it over to the left-hand side. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the newest alumni of East Islip High School, the class of 2020. Parents, please find your graduate here. We're going to start that recessional out of the stadium. Administration, if you could please join us on the sideline and lead us out. Straight out. Straight out.